Hello and welcome. I am Raghav, and in this session we are going to learn step by step from scratch how to do data driven testing in our Playwright Python project. So we will start by learning how can we parameterize our tests, and parameterization means that we replace the hard coded values, the data values from our test, and instead of that we use variables, and later on we will get the values of these variables from a CSV file. So we will learn how to get data from CSV file, and then we will also see how can we get data from a JSON file. Okay, and we will see all this with hands-on demo, and whenever you have any issues you can let me know. So let's get started, and let us first create a very simple test case that uses some data that we can then parameterize and get from a file. Okay, so I am going to open my project. This is my Playwright project that we have been working on, and we have already created some tests. So let us just record a test, and I'm going to go to this demo website Orange HRM, and here we can do a login using these username and passwords. So I will use code gen to record the test. I will say Playwright code gen, and I will give the URL of the application and hit enter. This will open the code gen window or the Playwright inspector window and the browser with our application loaded. So I will add username here, admin123, and click on login, and this takes us to the home page. And here let me just verify something. So I will go here, assert visibility, and I will just, let's say, verify this dashboard tab, and I will stop recording, and this is our inspector window. So we have got our test recorded. I will change this to PyTest code and copy it, and then I will go back to my project and let me create a test here. I will go to my tests folder here and click on this new file, and I will create a test. I will say test underscore data driven demo dot py, and we have got a test file created. And here I'm just going to paste our copied code from our Playwright inspector. Okay, so we have got this here. This is fine. Let us very quickly run this and check if everything works fine. So here this is all okay. I don't need to, I can, okay, this is all fine actually. Let me just, I'll press Ctrl C first on the terminal to close the inspector window, and then I will say PyTest, and I'll go to the tests folder and then test underscore data driven demo, and let me also add a slow motion for let me slow down by 500 milliseconds so that you can see the actions on the screen. So it opens the browser, goes to the application, enters username, password, clicks on login, goes to the home page, and yes, it is pass. Okay, so we have our test now, and you can see here we are using test data, which is username and password. These are the two test data we are using. Okay, so we will parameterize this first. So let's parameterize. That means we will use variables in place of hard-coded data values. So let me say in place of this admin username, I will use a variable called username. Okay, and in place of password, I will use a variable called password. Okay, and then I will have to pass this username and password from the parameters of this function. So I will give a comma here and pass username and password. Okay, so what I'm doing is this function, which is test example, will get these two variables, value of these two variables, username and password, and that will be passed here username and password. Okay, now we will use a fixture pytest.mark.parameterize, and this is a fixture from pytest. So if you are using pytest, you can directly use this fixture. Otherwise you will have to do some you can use some Python functions, but because we are already using pytest in our project, let us use this fixture at pytest.mark.parameterize, and this we have to use just above the function. So I will say at pytest dot mark dot parameterize, and this is the username and password. These are the two parameters, and then you can give the values of these parameters in this within this square brackets. Okay, so you can do it like this. Okay, so for me it was showing auto suggestion. I have pressed tab to auto complete everything, but you can see here we are using these two parameters, username and password, and then we are passing values here, and you can pass any sets of data. As of now we are passing 3 sets of data. Let me just go with 2 sets for now so that it is faster. Okay, so we can pass any number of sets of data, comma separated values, and then now see, if you don't want to pass it like this, you can also pass in a single line for one set of data, but otherwise it is good that if you are passing multiple sets of data, you can put them within this square brackets like this and keep on adding the values by adding the commas. Okay, now let me try this, and also you can see we are getting a error here. This means pytest we have to import, so let me also import pytest. All right, so this is what we have done. We have used this fixture. Let us now, again, we have done parameterization and also used a fixture to get the values for these variables. Let us now again run this. I am pressing the up arrow on my keyboard to go to the last command, and I'll run it again. So let's see, this should run now 2 times because we are sending 2 sets of data. First one is a valid credentials, so it is passed. Now this is the second one which is invalid, and this should fail, and you can see it is showing invalid credentials, and this should fail our test, and that's it. You can see here it is showing us 1 failed and 1 passed, and all this will be shown in the report as well. Now the next thing we have to do is we have done parameterization. We are getting the values of our data sets, or the data that we are using in our test from variables, and then we have used the fixture. Now let us get the same data from a CSV file. Okay, so let us create a CSV file and store our data there. So let me just go to, now you can create this CSV file anywhere on your system. However, it is recommended that if you can keep the file within the project folder, it will be helpful, so that in case you move your project, you can take the file along with you, and then you can also give relative location of the file in your code, so it will never break. So let me just open any folder and say reveal in file explorer, so that it goes to my project directory, and yes, here it is. And I'm going to make a new folder here in my project folder, and I will call it as test underscore data, and I will go inside this, and here I am going to create a, I'll just create a text file first, a notepad file, and then I will convert it into a CSV. I will say this is data, and let me first add the data. So in a CSV file, we add data in comma separated values. So I will say username, password, or let me just add the username, password values here. Okay, so I'll just say here admin and admin123. This is the valid credentials, and I will say user1 and user 123, user 2, user 456, and let's just save and close it. And also I will make sure that I now change the extension of this file. So I'm going to change the extension of this file. I will rename this file and change the extension to, or I can press F2 on my keyboard to rename, and I will change it to CSV. Okay, so now this is a CSV file, and this I will have to get in my code. So I'm going to, the next step is I will create a function to get data from this CSV file, and then, so let's see the function. I can create a function, let's say load CSV data or get CSV data. So here I will say def get CSV data. Okay, and here I will create this array, and then I will say with open and give the location of my CSV file. So I will say, now you can do it this way as well. You can give the file name and get the file here. So let me try to do it this way. So here I will say, okay, so I have added this dot because this is a relative path related to the project folder. This should work fine. Let us now save and run. I'm going to the last command. I press the up arrow to go to the last command, and I am executing now. So this is running. It opens the browser, and we have now 3 sets of data in our CSV file. So this should run 3 times. This is the first run. The first set of data is valid credentials. So this should pass. This should take us to the home page, and this one should pass. Okay, yes, this is pass. The second one should fail because that is invalid credential. So let's see, it was user 1, and yes, it is running fine. This one should fail. So now you can also see our data is driving our test. We can now give any sets of data in our file. We don't have to come to our test case and do any changes for data. We will just go to our file and add, delete, update, whatever data changes we want to do, we will do that here, and the test will run accordingly. If I just go there and add 10 sets of data, it will run 10 times with all the sets of data that we have used there. Okay, so yes, you can see it is all running fine. 2 failed, 1 pass with all 3 sets of data that we have added in our CSV file. Okay, so we are done with CSV file. Let us see if we can use a JSON file as well. So let's create a JSON file and add our test data. And for JSON file, we use data like this in a JSON format. Okay, so this is what we will be using. So I will go back to the test data folder, and let me create a new file. Again, let me start with a text document, and then I will change it to JSON. So let me open this, and I will give a square bracket start and end, and then for each set of data I will give in curly bracket start end, comma, and then again curly bracket start end, comma, and I will keep on adding for as many sets of data as I want, and I will give the value username, and I will give the value like this, admin, and then password I will say admin123. Okay, in the same way I will keep on adding. So I can add, let's say I will just copy this and add it here and here, and I'll just change this user test1, test2, and if I want I can also change this. Okay, and save and close, and I'll just change this. I am pressing F2 and I will change this extension to .json. Okay, also you can take help from any online tool. I will go to JSON beautifier just to make sure that you are using the format is correct. Okay, so I'll just copy this and say format beautify. So you can see this has given me a corrected format, although this is also correct, but just if you want you can check, you can do this. Okay, and I can also just say open with, and I can give it like this. Also this you can do within VS Code or your editor as well. You can see it has come here, so you will find tools for checking this here as well, but that's fine. Okay, so we have created our JSON file, and now the same way we will create a function like we have created for CSV. We will create a function for JSON to get data from our JSON file. So this is the function. So I'll say def get JSON data, and you can see it has already given me all these options. So you can see this here with open and give the file name as file, and then load the data and return the data. Okay, and then in place of calling get CSV data, I will call get JSON data here, and just to make sure I will press Ctrl on my keyboard and click here, and this should take me here. Okay, so this is what we will do. We will update the function here in our fixture, and let us now save and run. I'm just moving the slow motion. Let us run and check. So this is running. Okay, this is the first run. Let me see. Okay, I think this is taking username every time. We will have to fix that. Okay, it is just taking the keys and not the values. So let me just check what we will be doing here. Okay, this is happening because we are returning data, the entire data that we have got in our file. So because we are also using keys there or the names there, so I should be returning item something like this, or I can say here I can just use, yeah, I can say like this: item username, item password for item in data, and then we can use all this, but I think this should be enough. For item in, I will just say raw here, or okay, I just choose data here, so I should be using data, because whatever I use here, I'm just saying I just want to get that. Okay, now let me run it again and check. I will save and run. So it goes, and yes, you can see this time it is using the values. So the first one is right, the second one should fail, it is invalid, and the third one, which is test 2, and this is also running fine, and this should also fail. So 1 pass and 2 failed, and this is all running fine. Okay, so we are able to use our JSON file for data driven testing, and we have already checked, we have saved and run. So I will suggest that you try some options, and you may face some issues as you do it for the first time. Obviously, you will be facing some issues. You can check some examples online and you can try with different formats. And if you face any issues, please let me know. I will see you soon. Thank you for watching and never stop learning.